I was born in Limestone County,
In what state?
uh, Athens, Alabama.
Ah,
Athens was the county seat, but I was born way and lived and raised way out in the country. We grew up working in the fields,
Uh-huh.
and
Even as children, you were working in the fields.
yeah. Well, the older kid, I was the oldest, and I think I was at home with my brother for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, they took the kids to the fields.
What would you do there?
Well, if you could walk, you probably had a flour sack around your neck if you were going to pick cotton.
Ah.
So the kids would play and work too. To me, it was serious, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe not with most children. I took it seriously. And I remember my mother telling me, she says, "Oh, if you pick cotton, if you pick 100 pounds of cotton, you'll get $1. You'll get a penny for every pound." So when I started working, day pay and pound pay was by the dollar. It was 75 cents a day when my parents were working. I guess we were poor, but didn't really know it or see it that way because that was all we knew.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know, that was
Uh-huh.
all we knew. We heard about the Depression, but we were so depressed that we didn't know it was depression because, you know, except for, what you raised, you could, have garden and what was called truck patches. That meant you had like potatoes. That meant you weren't a farm. You just had you were allowed enough land to raise gardens and hogs and chickens. We would be picking cotton, and I guess in a sense we celebrated because we would be in the field picking cotton, but when it came lunchtime, we had like a 15-cent worth of bologna and crackers and maybe a 5-cent moon pie and a big double cola or a RC cola. And you sit on your cotton sack and eat. So that was enjoyable to me. That was pleasurable. Very tasty.
That was Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, we didn't celebrate. We knew the days were like Washington's birthday, Lincoln, and We didn't celebrate those days. You know, where I lived, I won't say all of Alabama was that way, but in the section where we lived, we didn't notice holidays.
But you were going to school some of that time?
Yeah, you'd have maybe a day off for school, but we didn't call that a celebration as it is now, you know.
What was your relationship like with the landowners, people you worked for?
Well, we seldom saw them. There would be, usually a man was the overseer, and you'd see them sometimes, but I guess I don't quite understand what it was with my parents and I mean, you just seldom saw them. We were sharecroppers, so you just did your, you know, your work, and sometimes you'd see them. One thing they would do is give us a bag of hard candies for Christmas. I remember that, about a little pound bag of hard candies. That's what the landowner would give us. Oh, in Alabama, I never worked among white people. You know, we're all black people in the fields where I worked. We were working for, you know, the landowner, whoever owns the land. But I've never played with a white child. Never had that opportunity.
But you said from your family, you were never taught to.
Right. I was never taught, you know, you hate so-and-so or so-and-so. I mean, I just didn't hear that. That didn't go on. You start picking cotton late during this summer, and sometime you pick almost through all the winter back then. But it was cold, but now the hoeing the cotton, what they call chopping cotton, that's hot weather work. Well, I think you just sort of get used to it, but you don't feel it for after a day or so, 2 or 3 days. But no, it didn't hurt my back then. I tried my knees, but I guess I didn't have sense enough to know you needed some
Padding?
What they call knee crawlers.
Oh.
But I couldn't move fast enough anyway. But I never picked as much cotton as everybody else. My sisters, they picked like over 300. The highest I ever picked was 185. I mean, yeah, 285, I think, 285. I never amounted to 300 pounds.
285 pounds of cotton in one day.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a lot to
Wow.
me.
Just about everybody has died out now, but people my age, especially men, if they were brought up in the South and they're talking to you, now this could be any woman, anybody, if they're talking to you, they don't look at you when they speak, when they talk. They'll be looking way out somewhere, yet they're talking to you. So that's some of the sad part about the South then. How the kids could grow up loving one another, then reach a certain age and the white kid is told that you can't play with that kid anymore. And then that kid is told you got to call him Miss or Mister, you know. So it's a lot of crazy sadness. I mean, sadness for crazy reasons. I think that's why they used to call me big-headed, fast. I was called fast. Don't be so fast and womanish, and you know, I guess I was friendly and outgoing person. But I also studied all the time. even when school was out.
Did you have
I-
books from the school?
Well, yes, we had our own books in high school. When school season was over, I'd still continue studying, reviewing.
Uh-huh.
I guess I lived in imagination.
You imagined something?
I didn't think about it. I always imagined doing something different, better, something I like. I don't know anything else to call it. I guess I daydreamed and imagined. I still had a little feeling that I was, gonna do those things. I guess I kind of had the feeling that once you're grown, you can do just about anything you want. I think as a little child, that's what I believed adult people could do what they want. And so I always imagined what I was going to do. Oh, boy, what kind of life I wanted to have.
What kind of life did you feel like you wanted to have?
Well, I guess during high school, I dreamed, first of all, I wanted to be a mom and have a good old-fashioned husband, and I wanted from 4 to 6 children.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted 4 boys and 4 girls. That was my first, that was what I wanted first, most of all. And then I would dream until I reached that point. Only I just had it turned around backwards, I guess. I guess in my dreams, I wanted to work first,
Uh-huh.
And I always dreamed that I was doing something with my hands. And then when I started high school, and the office was where when we go into the auditorium, I could see the office a lot. I would watch the typist, and I really wanted to do that. She wasn't looking at it. That's what was so amazing to me, was that typewriter.
Typing without even looking at the keys.
Yeah, I really wanted to try that.
Yeah.
And I think too, it was people kind of wanted their daughters to get married early, because it was hard taking care of family, and they get married, they could get their own crop. The landlord would let them, give them a year's trial with their parents signing in. But anyway, I kind of felt pulled down by, I liked him, the more I got to know him, I liked him, but I had made up my mind at about age 15 that I wasn't going to date. I wanted to finish school and get away. Well, I got married, and that didn't work out. And that was most of my mother's choice. I don't blame her for it now, but you reach a point where if your parents keep telling you something, you begin to think, well, maybe they are right, My husband, he was in the church. That's another thing she thought made him so good. And she asked me one day, how did I like him? I said, I don't. She said, and she didn't like it because she thought, he's this good Christian boy. And he wasn't kind as she thought he was. He was very, I forget words now, violent.
Oh,
Was he abusive?
Because I know when I got divorced, and the lawyer was talking, and says, Mr. Robinson left you such and such. I said, I left him. So that's the part where uh, when I got ready, was planning to leave, that's when I was planning to, you know, make over. I just believed there was a way. I just believed it was going to be. That I wasn't going to live that kind of life. And neither have my children. And so I came and I worked and I took in sewing. I took a course when I came to Buffalo in typing. I did take a course. I started teaching, you know, doing it myself. I went to my landlord here in Buffalo, and I went to pay my rent. And I was talking to their secretary, and I says, I'm starting to take classes for typing. And I says, I've got to find a typewriter, an old typewriter. She says, you want a typewriter? I said, yeah. She says, I have one, you can have it.
Oh.
And so that's how I brought my speed up and everything. I would have gone to other places where I had friends and relatives, you know. But I guess I said to myself, I want to go where I don't know anybody in a way. I didn't want to be around the same kind of people. I just didn't want my kids to know the scary voodoo and all that stuff, you know, and the drinking and the it was just an environment that I didn't want. And I felt that if I went where everybody else went, I'd be in the same environment. I guess I felt Buffalo was a quieter place, or you know, I felt that I could work and make it here.
Was it difficult to find a job, or were you able to do that?
No, because I came with a few talents. You know, I took in sewing, and I worked in a fish market. You know,
and you learned to type the typewriter.
Oh yeah, I typed for 26 years.
What was your first typing job? How did you get it? What
the
was
county
it?
clerk. Yeah, there were so many different kinds of things to do. I started in real estate, I guess you'd call it, and then I did conservation, and then the part of naturalization that the county does, I did that part. The conservation was to distribute hunting and fishing license to the 32 towns and cities in the county. And so I had to work with those town clerks and Albany and genealogy. So I did quite a number of jobs while I worked there. It was so interesting till I felt that it was very interesting. My only bad feeling sometimes, and that didn't bother me much because I knew I'd catch up. When I'd go on vacation, the people who were working with me didn't work.
Oh.
But I've never been harshly treated by white people while I was in the South. The harshness was here in Buffalo. where I worked.
At what point did you become connected to Unity? Did you begin to find?
1985, I think. My daughter was going. She in Georgia. I don't know if she was going before Georgia, but I know they were going, and my daughter told me about it. And because I had just stopped going to church. I don't know. I just had stopped going. The first time I went, it was interesting. I listened. And the second time I went, and I really, it got better. I liking it more and more. And the third time I went back, and Alora had mentioned that they needed something for the coffee hour, that it's voluntary work.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, that's one thing I could take off of her hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the coffee hour every Sunday. And that's how it started. What I'm really proud of and amazed by is that all the grandchildren, all my mom's grandchildren, has done very well.
Wow.
And I don't know how many there are. I got to count the fact that all my mom's grandchildren has done well.